What'd you bring us, Rodger?
1970 Chevelle was originally an LS6 car that was a non-numbers matching car, but it was an original LS6 70 Chevelle. It's had pretty extensive work done to everything from inside of the paint and the vinyl top, as that was restored 16 years ago and painted at Fairway Chevrolet's auto body shop. And we've changed the chassis. We put 295 3519s on a grip equipped wheel that is 19 by 10. It's got Michelin tires, it's got a Ford 9-inch. The front suspension is based on a C6 Corvette.
Did you say 12.5-inch wide
Yes,
rims
sir.
back there? If people, you really got to see a 12.5-inch wide rim with the tire off it,
right,
to really appreciate that rim. Like, first off, 12.5 is 13.5 because they're going inside bead to inside bead, but you really just got to see that thing off of the car to really fully appreciate how wide that is.
So you got a lot of work back there.
Just the box they come in.
So how do you, now we, now again, this looks like a stock fender to me, but I don't know because you did a good job. Well, how much flared is?
It's not flared. It's mini tubbed on the inside. So we built wheel tubs to go inside.
Right. So you all want inside.
We did not repaint anything on the car. That's why the vinyl top was left on. It's because he for one likes all that stuff, and it's really grown on me. But that was the confines that he put. He's like, you can do whatever you want to the car as long as we don't paint it or do any of that stuff. That's why there's hood pins on it, because I don't even think anybody puts hood pins on cars they build anymore. This side of the you know.
And the
now you designed a chassis for underneath. Do you cut the floorboards and everything out of the unibody and start fresh, or does your chassis fit with the factory unibody?
It fits. Well, it's not a unibody. These cars have a frame that separates from them, but it bolts to the stock mounting points. But the suspension axle center line is moved up in the chassis, and then that area that goes up into the frame, into the engine area, we moved some stuff around.
Okay.
So the wheel tubs are in the stock position. They're just extensively wider, so that you can turn those 295 19s at this ride height. And the frame is made with a bunch of other substructures in there to make it stronger, so that we can tuck it up closer to the car, to the floor of the car, so that it doesn't hang down as low and yet still have 4.5 inches of ground clearance.
Okay. Well, you know, I don't like black for an exterior of a car, but I love red for the interior of a car. But there is no better combination than black and red.
Yeah, it looks great.
Black exterior, red interior is awesome. The seats, I don't know enough about Chevelles to know how unstock or stock these things.
Well, the seat frame, the metal structure, is the original seat. Then we cut all the springs out. The Jan at Stitch by Stitch did all the foam work, and then we took the design elements here. The center, we called it the nut bolster, is from the new Dodge Dart. We welded some structure inside to put the 3-point seatbelt harness in there, so that it's not hanging from up here like a lot of guys do.
Now we're talking.
So this is the LSA engine, the supercharged
the LSA engine, completely stock. The bracket system is all GM parts. We've changed everything over to run AN fittings on the radiator hoses, and down here you'll see 2 tanks. One of them is the intercooler supply tank to a reservoir. The other side, we just put it in there to make it match, but it's a lifetime supply, as we joked, of windshield washer fluid.
And now you got like ethanol, or what were we spraying? Water?
The water methanol injection.
Water methanol.
No, this is the radiator to cool.
Oh, the radiator
to cool the intercooler.
The supercharger has an air to water intercooler.
Right, air to water,
and the radiator for the intercooler.
Call them heat exchangers.
Heat exchanger. There you go.
There you go.
And I don't know when we started calling radiators heat exchangers, but I got angry. And then we have suspension work here. It looks like some hydraulics for the shocks.
Yeah, just the remote reservoirs for the RideTech triple adjustable shocks. Then we've got 3 master cylinders, one for the clutch and then one for the front brake and the rear brake, so you can dial in your front to rear brake bias if you want to mess with that stuff.
I don't, but the knobs are always on the dash.
That's right,
and
they're there.
I say to everyone, what should I do with this? And they go, don't touch it.
Yeah.
All right, done and done.
So this engine is the same engine that's in the Cadillac CTS-V and the Camaro ZL1.
Yes, sir.
But what kind of power did you say you were making with it?
At the hot rod flog test that we did about 2 months ago, amazingly, this thing put 570 horsepower to the ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's rated from GM at 550 at the crank. So how that happens, and they swear it's correct,
Synthetic gear oil.
That's it. That's
You
how they did
pick
it.
up horsepower.
and it's got a tornado in the air filter.
You're right.
There
One
you
of those
go.
old tornadoes.
So do you think they just rated it that way for insurance purposes?
When I talked to Jamie Meyer, he just kind of laughed.
Yeah.
So-
Here's the thing: is if you go out and you buy your brand new Cadillac CTS-V, and they say it makes 550 something horsepower, and for the one guy that puts it on the dyno and it makes less than what they claimed, he's going to be pissed.
Yes.
But if it always makes more,
Then
he's
nobody's
always
gonna
happy,
complain
right?
about more. So the dash was designed to mimic the stock dash that was in it. We machined that out of a 200-pound block of aluminum.
Wow.
Machined it down to 17 pounds, and then put all the autometer gauges in it. It's got the vintage air switch panel, and we took these door handles.
Wow,
I was
solid.
on vacation in Hawaii and saw these door handles in the Jeep JK that is the rental car. You can't buy a Jeep JK with manual windows and manual locks unless it's a rental car, is what they told me. So I found these in my rental car and thought, man, those would look really good in this car. And
So somewhere there's a rental car with no door handles.
well, no, I was able, you can order them, but nobody ever stocks them. So that's
Right.
why I had a Jeep JK and was amazed that those handles even existed.
Yeah.
That's where the wife goes, we're on vacation, leave it alone.
Yeah, stop
Can you
fidgeting,
leave
stop
it
measuring.
alone?
Well, it never stops.
That's
Yeah.
what I tell my wife. Like I'm grabbing buck slips and writing down jokes, and she's like, "Just leave it alone. You're driving the kids nuts. We're trying to." And it's like, you can't put your brain on vacation.
That's like a drug addict going on vacation. I don't think it happens.
Well, you pack the drugs.
Yeah,
You
you
should
take
know.
yeah.
I don't know where the exhaust is. Wow, that sounds great, looks great, and the great news is it's just drivable. And I didn't know that the deal was, you know, we keep the vinyl, we keep the paint, and you got to work all the way around it. Just from a standpoint, I imagine, Rodger, like when you bring a car in the shop, and it's like you see those cars and people are setting junk on the roof and setting junk on the hood, and, you know, because you go, well, it's getting repainted, you know, like we're not. That you have to protect this thing. I mean, it's a whole different sort of approach when you're taking things
Did
apart.
you just wrap
but
the whole
can't-
thing in blue tape?
No, they have sticky welders tape. I guess but it comes in 3-foot rolls. We had it covered in that a lot. But you know, so about a month ago, about 2 or 3 months ago, Hot Rod Magazine approached us to recreate an ad from the 70s. That I was born in '76, so I didn't know what they were talking about. But there's these big 3-inch boat ropes they had that come over the side and were driven into the ground with stakes. And so the rope comes over, wraps around each other, goes around the car, and then there's another one back here. Well, if it would have been a new paint job, there's no way that we would have been able to do that. I mean, it took some work with the
So
buffer.
is it like tying it down like it's King Kong
yeah,
or something?
like a big.
It's an animal.
There
of
you
some
go.
sort.
Ready to pound.
So they did all the smoke machines and did orange lights, and it'll be on the cover of Hot Rod here pretty soon. That looks like you blew up the motor going into turn 4 at Daytona, but you're doing a burnout on a dirty road. So, but you'd never be able to do it with a nice paint job.
So where should people go if they want to find your work one more time?
Ironworks Speed and Custom. Custom is spelled with a K. .com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We put tons and tons of pictures of all of our projects so that potential customers and just fellow gearheads can see different ideas and different approaches that we've had to share that stuff. And we have a small product line of things we try to sell that are just little brainiac ideas to make people's life easier.
The lights turned on. All right. Thank you so much, Rodger. And come back, bring us your next creation whenever you like. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Rodger Lee and Matt the Moderator. DeAndrea saying, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.